another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 6, Episode 17.
Or Episode 135 if you're counting.
And that's a lot of episodes, huh?
I guess.
135, it's kind of a lot. Thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl, and you guys make this series and so many other things possible. I actually only just got last week's episode up for you Patreon contributors, so a little behind. I'm going to get caught up this week. But that's not the only thing that went up this week. As some of you might have seen now publicly, I've posted that request review of Haibane Renmei.
Yes.
So that's both on channelawesome.com and marsgirlproductions.com. Of course, you'll just see it there on the front page of youtube.com/marsgirl. So, yeah, Patreon made that possible. So, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
Patreon keeps the lights on. We thank you.
Yeah, these lights specifically, or else you guys wouldn't be able to see us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on?
What is going on?
I don't know. I guess we didn't have this discussion.
No, usually we kind of pre-talk about what we're going to talk about in terms of small talk. You did start on your next
that I did, yeah.
Patreon review.
Request review for actually another friend of ours, Stacy, who actually played Destiny with me this past Friday. I'm gonna see if she's available to do some more Destiny later. But she's got a request review coming in that I'm currently working on for the Netflix series Atelier, which is actually a Japanese live-action series. It's only 13 episodes long, about a girl who gets a job at a lingerie store where they make custom, made-to-order lingerie items, and it's kind of strange, a little funny. It's not really a comedy, I don't think, but
it's comical. It's like a lot of J-dramas that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the cast, most of the cast I've never seen before, so it's nice to see some new faces. But, you look there in the background and you'll notice one of the people that works there at the shop. He plays New Den-O and Kamen Rider Den-O. Or in episode 2, there's a cameo by the guy who was Jiro Garuru in Kamen Rider Kiva.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy who owns the antique shop in Wizard, he shows up there for a second. Like, I know all you people in the background. I've seen you.
Yeah,
do something.
It's pretty interesting to see how these actors cross over into different properties.
Well, yeah, because you can start with something very kiddie and then branch out from there. Build your portfolio up, which is kind of related to something we'll talk about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You start in a kid's show and then you want to branch out.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's important.
Very important. Otherwise, I guess we've kind of been not so awesome this past week.
What are you talking about? I've been plenty awesome.
We haven't done a lot of awesome things.
We're alive. That's awesome.
Alright, that's fair.
Living is awesome.
Is there anything else that we need to bring up before we bring up the stories that we're doing this week?
I'm trying to think, what's something... Well, it's not anything we covered on the show, but like we talked about before a little bit last week, we've started watching anime again, which is surprising. And we're a couple of episodes behind, but we're still watching the Ace Attorney anime as it's being streamed onto Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And we just got done with the case Turnabout Sisters, for any of you who've played the original game, dealing with Phoenix having to defend Maya in court, saying that she killed her sister. And that particular case has the character Red White, who is an incredibly pompous douchebag who mispronounces everything. And some of you might remember we did a live stream of it, voicing the characters as we thought they sounded.
Mm-hmm.
But here in the anime where it's, professionals doing the voices, everybody's doing a great job, but when it comes to Red White,
of course, this is Japanese voicing. There is no current English dub.
I imagine we'll get one eventually.
Probably.
But this guy's voice, alright, oh man. The first thing he says to Phoenix, he's asking Phoenix to introduce himself to him as he's walking into his office there, and in the worst English imaginable, you want to take this one or you want me to do it?
You can do it.
Okay, the worst English imaginable, what's your name? And then he's peppering all his speech with, throwing English at, by the way.
My favorite, though, is goodbye forever!
Yeah, when he says he doesn't need to testify in court anymore, and it's hilarious, and it's great, and finally...
Otherwise, a lot of people don't think that the anime is all that great, but
it's what it needs to be. It's a straight up adaptation of the game.
It's a very literal adaptation of the game. There's not much wiggle room given for anything new, actually.
Yeah. Other than that, we still need to catch up. There's a new episode of My Hero Academia that came out Monday, so we need to catch that.
Sure,
and then
I guess.
We've heard about this new series it's from the people who made Attack on Titan, or somebody who worked on Attack on Titan, called the Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. I don't know if any of you guys are watching that. I hear it's interesting, but we still haven't watched it yet.
I'm not that interested.
I'm at least going to give it a shot.
All right, you go ahead. Not a thing I'm interested.
Okay, well then I'm going to do that.
Okay, good for you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Goodbye forever!
I walked right into that one. Wow.
All right, so we've got other actual things we're talking about today, yes?
Yes,
okay.
we do. All right, so our first story of the evening, some of you guys saw us post these on Twitter. So, number one, a lot of former Power Rangers actors have gotten together, some of you guys have seen this, and are making a independently funded movie called The Order. It's an action movie. They've got an IndieGoGo up right now. We're going to talk to you guys about it, what the plot of it is, what you get if you contribute, and really just giving these guys another shot, I think that's important.
It's interesting enough anyway. And then second up is, for some reason, this has been in development hell for years, but I guess it's legit a thing now. Tetris movie. And there's going to be 3 of them.
Why?
More than just why, we're going to get into the how, and oh my god, I'm terrified by the language being used
to
describe this movie. Yeah.
Some scared words, yes. And then our final story of the evening, there's been much ado made about this very bad PR relations nightmare with this convention out in, I believe it's California?
No, it's Santa Fe.
Santa Fe. Oh, so New Mexico, right?
Yeah.
This convention kind of stuck their foot in their mouth and then took it out and then shoved it in even further. And we're going to talk to you guys about that, how not to talk to your primary attendees, and how not to relate to them.
Really, how not to do PR in any given public sense.
Yeah, that's about right.
Your public relations in any way need to not look like what we're going to describe here in that third story.
Yes.
Yeah, but we've got other follow-ups, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, we got follow-ups.
Okay, well, let's...
All right, follow-ups, all right. We've been doing the show for a while. I figured I'd give you a present this week.
Oh, no, what?
There isn't any Not Quite Justice League this week.
Good, because I think we're done with it. We need to go into actual Justice League stuff, and not this Not Quite Justice League stuff anymore, because
I'm still going to say not quite if they're screwing it up.
No, that's not how this works.
I will die on this hill.
That's not what the definition of the joke
was. Well, then let's cover some other DC news. All right, first we'll start with DC itself. So, apparently they're working on this whole rebranding thing with a new logo for DC Comics.
Why?
I don't know. This is they just changed it back in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. That was the last change. And then before that, there was a change about 4 years earlier than that, and then there was the classic logo. But we got a picture here of the new DC logo, which is...
Yeah, you can wear that on a baseball jersey, I guess, a baseball tee.
Yeah, you can put it on stuff. You'll start seeing this more commonly now on your comic books, on your action figures and pop figures. That'll be the DC logo that you see.
Like, it's not ugly, but neither were the last 2 to 3 logos. I guess I just don't understand.
Really, I didn't like the last logo. I liked the logo before that, and then the classic bullet logo. Mm-hmm. That's the one I grew up with. But this is just kind of eh.
Okay. That is a thing that is happening
Whatever makes you feel better about yourself, DC. Mm-hmm. All right, so get that out of here.
Okay.
Okay, so on other fronts, going from DC to CW. So, of course, the confirmation came down that Supergirl for Season 2 is moving over to the CW. Today, the CW had a giant press junket for their shows coming up for next season, and they've gone ahead and made it. They've almost got a full week of DC shows. So Monday, Supergirl will remain on Mondays. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, Flash, Arrow, and then Legends of Tomorrow on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday subsequently. They've almost got a full week there, and they have confirmed that later on in this next season for all of these shows, later on in the year, there will be a massive crossover, as many people expected.
Huh.
Now, as we brought to you guys before,
the
idea now is trying to figure out how do you merge Supergirl's world into the rest when we very clearly and distinctly said it's not directly connected.
Right.
But I imagine they're up to the challenge. the heads of CW developing entertainment there said, you know what, let's be real about it. We wanted her from the get-go. CBS got her, but she's back with us where she belongs.
Yeah, I told you. What did I say?
You did say that.
I told you they were gunning for it the whole time, and they shot themselves in the foot by doing the crossover too soon.
I owe you that one. You were correct.
Yeah, that's right.
All right,
That's what I said.
pat on the back.
Thank you.
All right. So yes, that's going to be a thing later this year. Very much looking forward to how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, on to Suicide Squad related stuff, which is not quite not Justice League related.
Yeah.
But DC is looking to develop a solo Harley movie that's not a solo Harley movie. So what they say they're planning on is Harley will headline this movie, but it will feature many prominent female characters from the DC universe, much like Batgirl and the Birds of Prey.
I mean, I guess that's alright.
Yeah, but the thing about it is the way they're phrasing that sounds just like Not Quite Justice League, where, well, we see Harley's testing well out of Suicide Squad, so we need to spin her off immediately, and then shove all these other people in here because women like women on screen. Yes, but we need to put all of them together out at once. And it sounds like another rush job.
Yeah, it does, admittedly. I think they are smart and correct in thinking that Harley Quinn is going to sell, because Harley Quinn was just such a fantastic creation out of the animated series, and she definitely deserves more expansion, more on-screen expansion. It's the other characters I am more concerned about.
Well, yeah,
really.
Because at that point, Harley, much like in the Man of Steel case, Harley will have had a movie to introduce herself to the audience, but then everybody else is going to get shoved in there, and we already know what happened to Barbara Gordon as of Not Quite Justice League. She was there, and then they cut her, so audiences won't be familiar with this version or whichever version they're going with, whether it's her, Stephanie Brown, or whoever. So, a little worried about that. On the positive side of some Batman news, so it turns out that the original two Arkham games, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, are being repackaged as a pack called Batman Return to Arkham, and they're being remastered in the latest Unreal Engine.
Oh, interesting.
Heightened graphics. Every single DLC that came out for either one of those games will be available, coming out later, I think within the next month or two, for about $50.
I mean, we already have copies of both those games,
we bought both. I had Arkham City at launch. I loved that thing.
Yeah.
And of course, they both got Game of the Year. And for all that DLC, for that price, you cut it down the middle, that's $25 a pop. For all that DLC, that's not bad.
Yeah, so if you don't already own either one of those games, that's probably a pretty smart deal. But it'll be a, PC? Console?
No, next gen. So Xbox One, PS4.
Console.
So console, yes. So yeah, if you guys want to get on that, absolutely. Everybody knows those games are amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty freaking good.
Yeah. Some of the best storytelling. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So moving on to some Marvel news. So going over to Black Panther, the cast continues to expand with Michael B. Jordan being added to the cast, who of course famously was Johnny Storm in Fan4tastic.
Right.
Which is weird because Simon Kinberg said he really wants to make another movie with all 4 cast members. It's going to be a little harder now, buddy, because you just lost your Human Torch.
Yeah, well...
Yeah.
Well, you keep getting new Human Torches. And,
so
and
we'll
those
get
Human
another
Torches eventually get better jobs. So
better jobs with Marvel.
Yeah, so it's...
The other thing being, they haven't confirmed this yet, but now there's talks that John Boyega is going to be added to the cast from, Star Wars The Force Awakens as Finn, and I'm like, well, hell yeah. Bring him over. Make this the strongest, African-American cast you can collectively have, and, this movie just seems to be sounding better and better with every person you have. This pedigree sounds so good. I want this movie already.
I will take your word for it.
You don't want it?
I mean, I'm not a huge Black Panther fan. I don't know much about it. I don't know much about these characters. I will go into it and I will probably like it.
Okay,
I
get that.
That's the best I can give you.
Okay, so moving on to some other movie news. So earlier this week, Paramount confirmed the next title for their next installment in the Transformers franchise. Transformers: The Last.
That's not it.
No, that's not it. The Last Night, and this thing looks it's at the top.
Oh, it's at the top, not the bottom. Oh, okay, yeah. That's
this thing. I heard about this while I was at work.
This looks like.
This looks.
It looks like it wants to be Voltron, very very badly, and it's very very comical. And unless what they're trying to accomplish is not give us the super extreme explodey versions that we've had for the last several movies, and instead give us something closer to the animated series.
I entirely doubt that.
Because this looks very cartoony and childish and silly, and like someone wrote a really bad fan fiction and thought, this sounds amazing.
See, that was the first thing I thought, like, oh, geez, I didn't realize we're letting 7th graders write titles for movies now. And then, of course, it's got the little sword going through the top there.
That's what makes me think Voltron rather than Transformers, like they forgot which robot franchise they were making a movie for.
Maybe, but yeah, this is a thing. It's coming out with most of the same cast as the last movie for Age of Extinction and all that. You know, Mark Wahlberg back as Cade Yeager. God.
Is that really his name?
That's his name, Cade Yeager.
Oh my God.
Sounds like a 7th grader
I've only seen
wrote
movies 1 and 3 and not 2 and 4. I've only seen the odd number movies and not the even number movies, and I can't.
Don't.
I can't stomach
Then just don't. Okay, over to some other news. Over on CBS, we've seen a promo, it's like a 30, 50-second promo for this next upcoming Star Trek series, which really doesn't tell you much of anything.
No, I mean, it doesn't make me disbelieve in the series, but it does make me think, wow, that's a thing that could have been made without any money or any casting or any writing at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a placeholder.
Yay, you've got the musical sting that we need, and
that's important.
You've got the correct, not Enterprise, the Federation logo. It's got space. Yay!
Space is important.
It is. I mean, I don't see anything I dislike, but the thing is, I don't see anything. Yeah. That's maybe the concerning part.
Okay, well, a little closer, we'll probably get more information. Mm-hmm. So, over onto the Assassin's Creed movie. So, we've got our first look at the latest poster. There we have Michael Fassbender as his ancestor.
Looks like an assassin.
It looks like an assassin. The thing about it is, like, if I didn't know any better, if I didn't know this was the movie, I'd think, oh, Ubisoft's coming out with another game. Great. Like, that's the thing. It blends so well in because of the, I want to say, blandness of how they're treating it.
I guess, yeah. It just seems like, there have got to be people out there making fanfics of Assassin's Creed, and have been for years, who are like, what if I did an Assassin's Creed, but I pick this random arbitrary culture in this place in this time, like, let's make Egypt a thing, let's make ancient China a thing, and they all kind of merge together into this very generic looking thing, and that's what this looks like to me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it doesn't look unique. It looks like one of the games, which maybe you could say is good, but at the same time...
I say that's what they're going for.
At the same time, all the games are now kind of merging together in my subconscious as these all look like the same thing.
Yeah.
So...
And I'll agree with you there, Roger. A World War II Assassin's Creed would be pimp. I would totally play that. Yes.
Maybe.
Okay, so moving on to some other news. Over in Sailor Moon news, we've got a new look at the cast because, the last one had to be retired. They can only play...
stage musical.
Yeah, for the stage musical. What we have here, I'll read out the names there from left to right, is actress Kaede as Sailor Jupiter, Hikari Kuroki as Sailor Mercury, Hotaru Nomoto as Sailor Moon, Karen Kobayashi as Sailor Mars, and Rimo Hasegawa as Sailor Venus. They'll be in this next musical coming up later this year. They're already in rehearsal. They're all very much looking forward to it. Best of wishes to the older cast as they go on to other projects. But I imagine this one will make as much money as the last ones did because people can't get enough of them.
They've made Sailor Moon musicals ever since Sailor Moon's anime inception, so and they've almost never stopped except for this one brief break.
Yeah.
From the late 90s into the early 2000s, and that was about it. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to some Kamen Rider news. So, for this last movie that just came out in theaters, Kamen Rider Ichigo, featuring the return of Hiroshi Fujioka in the role of Honko Takeshi, that movie will come out on DVD the same day as Kamen Rider the First and the Next come out on Blu-ray. That's August 3rd. So if anybody wants to put in a pre-order for that, that's coming up. Of course, those of us who can't afford it or obtain things through other means, be on the lookout around that time in early August.
Sure.
In other Kamen Rider news, we have pictures now of the latest SH Figuarts update, the revival line of Kamen Rider Double. This thing looks beautiful. With this line...
It looks like a suit actor.
Yes, that's very much what they've done. When you look at their process, they build from the ground up a skeleton, then a muscle structure based off Seiji Takaiwa, the head suit actor there for the Rider series since Agito, and now we've got this. When you compare this to the pictures of the original one, which is one of the first ones they came out with in the line, it just puts it to shame. You can't even hardly look at it the same. But this will come out later this year, retailing for around $60 US, so save up your money, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we're going to talk about tonight, which we wanted to make sure we left off to the end, so there was a new second Ghostbusters trailer that came out earlier this week,
and we've talked about Ghostbusters before, thus the reason why we didn't want to, shoehorn more Ghostbusters into main story news.
Right, because we've got these other stories, but catching a lot of heat, none any more so than from James Rolfe, who a lot of you know as the Angry Video Game Nerd.
This isn't even something I want to get into, although
it's kind of funny because, from there other people have voiced their opinions for and against the movie. Even you were saying last night, who was Dane Cook?
Dane Cook,
of all people.
James Rolfe got flack from Dane Cook, but then Dane Cook caught flack from all of James's fans. So I don't know who's correct. I will say that I am willing to, I see little things that I don't like about these Ghostbusters trailers here and there, but they aren't enough to make me not want to see it and understand whether or not it's actually going to be a good movie.
Well, because as an example, we over here on the show, we ragged about how bad Jem and the Holograms looked, but in order to make an informed opinion about it, we had to go see it.
Right,
and we made sure to see it for the cheapest amount possible, which was $3.
Yeah.
And from there,
between the two of us,
which could lead us to lead us to make a vlog. That way, you guys can have an informed opinion from people who actually experienced it. Usually, it's kind of that old adage, don't knock it till you tried it. I mean, you can go ahead and decry it from what you think it is, but that's not the same as what it actually is.
But to bring up this newer trailer that just came out, which immediately got an insane amount of dislikes in comparison to likes. The only thing that I really see wrong with it is that it's already starting to tell almost the entirety of the movie.
It does give away a lot.
Freaks me out a bit. I didn't really like that they so quietly make reference to the quote from the original Ghostbusters of dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, but really they kind of subverted it. It's not nearly as funny sounding. I mean, that's not a big deal to me. It's just if this is supposed to be a funny movie, that wasn't very funny. It just was.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
it's
a movie.
It's a movie, and it's kind of sad watching the fandom eat itself over it, because whether or not you like it or not, like it's been said many times, the original still exists. It's going to be back in theaters next month, so if you want to support that, by all means. If you want to support this new one, by all means. There are options. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Okay. So that having been said, let's go ahead and get to our first story of the evening, The Order.
The Order, which I totally clicked on before, and now I don't know where I put it.
You keep going. I'm watching you go past it. There we go.
Would you like to control the mouse, Josh?
Would you let me?
No.
That's what I thought. Okay, so here we have the poster for The Order, not The Order 1886, not the game. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is an IndieGoGo project featuring many former actors involved in the Power Rangers franchise. Now, this apparently is the brainchild of David Fielding and Karen Ashley, who played Aisha and Zordon, respectively. Johnny Young Bosch, who played Adam on the show, helped get the base financing done, and from there they've shot a sizzle reel, which is available now. If you go to their IndieGoGo site, just search it, IndieGoGo The Order. That's the first thing that comes up. This project, apparently, they've been working on for a while. They've been teasing it, most of the actors there, on social media for several days and weeks now, leading up to this week where they've unveiled the project. it's an action movie at base. There is no spandex, there's no powers, it's just straight up... Yeah, it's basically the Power Rangers version of the Expendables.
There's also no plot.
Well, there is a plot, if you read the...
No.
Well, I'm going to read it, because there's a plot. Apparently, these people that you see here are part of a group called the Order. They're basically like the FBI or CIA. They work in secret. They're an anti-terrorist group, basically. Mm-hmm. Some of their own splinter off, and then they have to fight them. So yeah, in that sense, it's very much like the Expendables.
It's so, like, I understand the need for this to exist. Okay, let me put it this way. Because, Power Rangers actors kind of have this stereotype carried through with them for the remainder of their career. Jason David Frank just happens to be a person who has decided, well, since I can't get out of it, I guess I will stick with it as hard as humanly possible and make my entire life revolve around that. But most actors do not want to be stuck with the idea that they will only ever be child TV show actors for the remainder of their lives. Because
it's coming up, no, Jason David Frank is not involved in this project.
Yeah, no, he's not. But so that's why I understand why this needs to be a thing, because it's got a lot of action, it's got, like, actual guns, and, some blood and violence and stuff like that. But the thing is, man, that trailer sure does look like one of the blandest things I have ever seen in my entire life.
That having been said, I've seen a lot worse, as far as do-it-yourself action movies go. Yeah, they could be doing a lot worse, and a lot of these people, having trained in their various disciplines, gymnastics, martial arts, what have you, it could look a lot worse.
I just feel like the only one out of any of them that looked like they were at all any good at it was, in fact... why am I blanking? Johnny Young Bosch, because, he still continues to at least voice act, and I guess he occasionally walks on for some things from time to time, but, like, the rest of them, they sometimes do the con circuit, and that's been their lives, and, any of them who have managed to go on to better their acting careers, say Amy Jo Johnson, she's off actually having an acting career, and this is here to bolster their careers that they need to have, and I think they deserve. I legitimately
absolutely
do.
Deserve that. Because in comparison here, like I was kind of bringing up at the beginning of the show, in comparison to its counterpart in Japan, Super Sentai, a lot of Super Sentai and even Kamen Rider actors who start out in this kiddie show, it's a lot easier for them to transition into television dramas, into movies over there, and they don't get pigeonholed as, oh, you're just a superhero, we won't give you a better role. Mm-hmm. Over here, it's been the unfortunate case since 1993. Most of these actors, like you see there, Austin St. John, David Yost, Walter Jones, they unfortunately didn't really get much work after the show. Mm-hmm. So for their sakes, yeah, a project like this would need to come along where it's like, well, we have to do this ourselves in-house because nobody else is going to give us a shot. Mm-hmm. And as such, they're trying to raise this amount of just $250,000, $250,000. And since this launched, they've already raised over $12,500. Mm-hmm. So that's good for them, because when I looked at it, yesterday or the day before, it was only $5,000 that they'd raised, so it's gone up.
It's doing okay. I guess that they're going for a 2-month stint on IndieGoGo, so they've got time to make it happen. Right now, this seems like a very slow grow, if you ask me. So they kind of have a ways to go, but they have the time to do it, so I think they'll get there. It's just not one of these ones that I'm seeing absolutely explode, like ones we've talked about before in the past.
Because the thing about it, you bring up the con circuit, a lot of these guys, just in the last couple of years, have started doing the con circuit. Some of the other ones...
David Yost, really, he did not do a con circuit for many years because he was not exactly treated very well by even his own co-workers on the show, so why join the con circuit? He thought everybody hated him.
But since then, he's seen that the con circuit has more than welcomed him, and a lot of the others now who do it, Austin St. John starting to do it more regularly, even, bringing up Amy Jo Johnson, she hardly ever does convention appearances. She's doing one here in San Antonio later this year.
That's right, she is.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get to attend that. But now, since they're out there more, they can reach out to fans who, really appreciate the work and appreciate the impact they had on their lives as Power Rangers and, give back. And those are the people giving right now. Mm-hmm. And so we'll talk to you guys a little bit about the tiers. So basic is $5, pitch in 5. Thanks. We appreciate it. Nothing there. So 15.
You get an email, apparently.
Okay, you get an email.
You get an email.
For $15, they will shout out to you on social media, outright thanking you for being involved in this project. For $25, you get a personal voice message from one member of the cast.
That's pretty cool.
Thanking you for that. For $30, you get an autograph from someone from the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. For $40, you get a T-shirt signed.
And of course, it's adding on top. You get all the other things plus that thing.
Like many other IndieGoGos. For $50, you get a PDF of the shooting script, which is pretty good. A lot of people like that sort of thing. For $50, you get a cast photo of everybody there. Or you can also get, for another $50 tier, a copy of the movie on DVD. So that one, I imagine a lot of people have already claimed. There are already 14 people there. For $75, you get a photo book from the movie. For $100, you get a Skype with your choice of a member of the cast. So that sounds pretty good. For $200, you get a prop from the set. For $300, you get to be an extra on the film. Now that's pretty cheap for that tier, that kind of a price.
At the same time, any of these things that they're including where you get to be there on set in any capacity, they're also not... That does not include your travel arrangements.
Right,
you would have to take care of that yourself.
But, it gets better from there. For $400, you get to hang out with them at Power Morphicon, since a lot of them will be attending. Much the same for Ranger Stop. That's a completely other tier.
Right.
For the same price, if you're more likely to attend Ranger Stop, you can go hang out with the cast there. Let's see what else we have. This was interesting to see. For $500, which is relatively cheap, all things considered, you could have a speaking role in the movie, and that tier is completely sold out.
Of course, again, get your own travel arrangements and accommodations over there. But yeah, it is. Most of these tiers are, in fact, surprisingly cheap to get the rewards back that they're saying they're going to be able to give you. So I am assuming that they are hoping that once this movie launches, it will generate a pretty fair amount of revenue after that launch in order to pay for all of these things to happen. Because otherwise, this seems like, man, that's a lot of money that is just going to go right back into fulfilling these reward tiers. I'm wondering how they're going to get this done. But to be fair, that sizzle reel looked relatively cheap, if you asked me. I'm hoping that it's going to be bigger and better than what I'm seeing in that
they
sizzle
say
reel.
here that sizzle reel is what it is. It's a proof of concept for what they want to do. So hopefully once they get the funding, they'll be able to put out something a little more impressive looking. For that fact, then I'm surprised I haven't done it yet. I am definitely going to contribute to this, because as a fan since 1993, I remember being there the day, that Saturday morning when this show launched, and from that point on, for Power Rangers, that show shaped the way I look at media, shaped the way I look at entertainment, and as such, all of these actors, seeing them throughout the years, and actually getting to meet some of them in person, they're all great people, nice people who deserve the chance to keep doing the thing that they want to make their living vocation of acting. So as such, I absolutely am going to contribute to this, even if it's only the $5 or $15 tier. They deserve the chance to be able to do this. Hopefully in 2 months they'll be able to do that. That seems doable. They say that they wanted to go for $1 million, but they went for a reduced rate because they think they can still get it done.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, this has nothing to do with Saban. Saban has zero...
Yes. Saban, Disney, anybody else, any of those other guys have no stake in this whatsoever. They didn't sanction this. They didn't get consulted for this. This ain't got nothing to do with them.
Yeah, this isn't Power Rangers.
No, this is not Power Rangers.
This is not telling a Power Rangers story. These are just old Power Rangers actors doing an action thingamagoober.
Yes.
That's about it. And I hope... I'm going to have faith that the end result looks better than what that sizzle reel is, because I'm quite frankly not impressed by the sizzle reel, but I understand the need for what this movie is supposed to be.
Yes.
I get it. This doesn't look like a movie that I would personally watch.
Oh, I would absolutely watch it, because, yeah, like many people here talking in the chat, I'm a sucker for action movies. I really am. I grew up watching them with my uncles and my dad and my brother, so this is right up my alley. And also, for the sake of supporting people that helped shape the way I see the world, yeah, I'll absolutely give to this. So yeah, if you guys want, go ahead and go over to IndieGoGo.com, look up the order, give what you can, because, yeah, these guys deserve the chance.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
All right.
Okay, that's enough of that.
All right, so moving on to some other movie crap. Tetris. Why? Because I'll start by saying Tetris is probably, like, no joke, my favorite video game. If I've logged in any amazing hours on a game, it's Tetris. Because for the longest time, I only had the one cartridge for my Game Boy Color, because I just couldn't get out and get games growing up. And so I played the hell out of Tetris, and I got fairly decent at it. But the thing about it was, like, I was never so into Tetris that I needed a story.
No, in fact, most versions of Tetris do not even remotely have any sort of story. I think some kind of sort of tried, and, like, nobody cared. But, so this is happening. In fact, not just one, but three.
A trilogy.
3 of them are going to be happening.
A trilogy.
How did this come to be? Well, we've got producer Larry Kasanoff. He did things like Strange Days, True Lies, and Mortal Kombat. I mean, at least one of those is a video game movie.
Yeah, one of those. Okay, fine.
7 Star Works is a production company, I guess. And I was looking it up. It seems to be out of Korea, I guess. And it's financed by a Chinese media businessman by the name of Bruno Wu. This whole thing sounds like really weird back alley sort of dealings in order to make this happen. Kind of freaks me out. And then, so we've got, who is speaking in some of these quotes here. Kasanoff, okay, so the producer, who says, Tetris, one of the most recognized video game franchises of all time, is a perfect first project for this strategy.
Of making a trilogy.
I guess.
For our debut project, Threshold Global Studios will bring one of the most beloved cross-generational gaming brands into the world to the big screen as an epic sci-fi thriller. Now, hold on for a second. Stay with us here. So, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the fake, it's been more than a few years.
Oh, several years,
fake Tetris trailer, the Tetris movie trailer. I think I saw it either on YouTube or actually there. Somebody was just playing it at MagFest of what it would look like if some idiot tried to serious the hell up Tetris and tell a story like it was some kind of, like, Running Man-esque world, you know, post-apocalyptic, and it was a game that people had to participate in. And it was really stupid, but it was funny, because it's like, yes, that's what it would look like if some idiot would decide to do that. Well, some idiot's deciding to do that, alright? Like, that's what we're facing here. What about blocks falling into place looks like epic sci-fi thriller?
It was just such a Russian-themed, puzzle...
It's a puzzle game.
...thing. Like, are you gonna set this in Russia? Is that what it's gonna be? And
I don't even think the fake trailer was set in Russia.
And okay, so the Chinese dude who's, like, funding this for some weird reason, says, today there are so many great sources on which to build a movie blockbuster, and video gaming is certainly an amazing category with its huge international following, so to have this legacy brand Tetris is a great first project for us with Larry, who knows his way around this landscape. And, like, yes, he worked on Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat had people. It had characters.
Yes.
And you can give those characters backstories.
Like,
how do you give Square Block a backstory? How do you give L Block a backstory? How do you give I Block and T Block a backstory?
And, you know, Trapezoid Block.
And Z Block.
Z Block, yeah. Are those the names of the characters now? Is that what we're dealing with here? Are people gonna ship Z Block with L Block? Like, is that what we're...
He brings up, video gaming is certainly an amazing category with its huge international following. He's right.
He's not incorrect.
He is right, and because we're talking about this year, you know, we're coming out with, like we just talked about, Warcraft and Assassin's Creed, and this is going to be like the year where these game movies
Those game movies.
Yes, they either make it or break it as far as game to movie adaptations are concerned, because really, up until now, video game to movie adaptations have not done very well in the grand scheme of things.
Like, there's kind of a glass ceiling there that they haven't broken through. And if they don't do it, then the next one you gotta wait for is the Lara Croft reboot.
Uh-huh.
So, beyond that...
Tomb Raider, yes.
Yeah, so that's what we're having to deal with right now. But the thing about it is, like, I can't help but think that this Larry guy sold this Chinese businessman on the idea the same way Jack got sold on the magic beans, like, hey, you want to make a video game movie, man? You know what's really going to make money? Tetris, man. Look how much money it made. It's instant win. Yeah, go for it. And the Chinese businessman was like, okay, I'll buy Tetris. But it's like, dude, do you know what Tetris is? There's no story. It's drop.
So here
accidentally miss.
I also read here, Threshold's Jimmy Yenner is executive producing with the Tetris Company and 7 Stars. Line producer Dane Smith, who worked on Transformers, Harry Potter, and Spider-Man, will be responsible for implementing the unique Tetris visual effects developed especially for the film. So, man, like, we know how explodey Transformers is, right?
Yeah.
And this guy worked on Transformers and Harry Potter and Spider-Man, and he's developing...
I'm assuming Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah, the way it's written there, I have to assume that means Sam Raimi because it's just Spider-Man.
Yeah, and not, like, Amazing or can't be Homecoming yet.
So, unique Tetris VFX.
What's...
From the guy who I have to assume did VFX for Transformers, so...
Like,
this is what Tetris looks like now.
A staple of Tetris is being able to clearly look at the front of the screen and watch things drop so you can rotate them the way they need to be. What I don't need is shaky cam messing up what I think is a good move because, like, oh, okay, of course that guy messed up. He couldn't get the straight block into the hole he made because the camera was shaking the whole damn time. Like, I don't need that, alright? Nobody needs that. Nobody's asking for this, which is why I think this Larry guy sold this guy on this idea with him not knowing any better.
Okay, so then there's this other name that comes up. Maya Rogers, who's the CEO of Blue Planet Software. She's been the CEO since 2014, apparently, and they currently own and produce and have released many versions of Tetris currently, and she says, just like playing the game, all of the pieces are falling into place with
you couldn't resist the pun.
With bringing an epic sci-fi thriller based on Tetris to the big screen. So here we are again with this epic sci-fi thriller thing. She continues to say, Threshold Entertainment and 7 Stars have been great partners to work with, and we look forward to continuing the momentum we've built as the film moves through the creative process. We're very excited to bring Tetris fans worldwide this epic tale in the form of a major motion picture, because we all know how epic the tale of Tetris is.
Oh yeah, like Square Block, man, the hardships he had to go through.
He went through hell.
Yeah, he went through hell. You know, he was just trying to find the place in the world he fit in. I swear, if that's anything close to what it ends up being, I'm gonna hurt somebody. All right, because like
I'm gonna cry.
I'm not even gonna go to Pixels. I'm not even gonna talk about Pixels in reference to this. Does anybody remember friggin' Battleship? All right, you remember because we were there, right? We were sitting in the theater.
At least Battleship, people have to be on a ship, and they were on. The part that didn't make sense was where they had like otherworldly things come in. Like you could have made it just a war story. It could have just been a war story.
But no, it had to be aliens. And the thing about it is we still forget Monopoly's still on the table, Candyland's still on the table. People want to make games and movies on lower scales, and then of course there's all the video game adaptations that are waiting in the wings too. So it's like, why would this even be a thing? Because when you remember when the title for Battleship came up, the whole theater laughed.
Yeah.
Nobody took that mess seriously. I didn't pay to go see it. I had insomnia and I had like Showtime free weekend, and that's how I saw it. That's going to be the same thing with Tetris. People are going to see this thing and laugh at it.
Yeah.
Because I can't believe you idiots thought you could make a Tetris movie. No.
Like, what else can I possibly say about it? This is what we're looking at right now.
Well, at least with Candyland, there's people.
It's very strange, very cutesy, sugary people, but yeah, there's actually characters. So anyway, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a bunch of people who just saw dollar signs when they saw Tetris and thought that's how we're gonna make a movie. 3 of them, and that it's going to be a sci-fi thriller for some weird reason. That's
what story?
That is insane.
What story do you guys know that we don't, that spans 3 movies about a game that's simply just blocks? Like, I can't... If this guy, whoever sold this idea to him, if he can sell Tetris, I want to see him sell Arkanoid to somebody. One-man Pong. That's what it is. Like, I want to see you sell this. I want to see somebody...
Block Breaker, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see somebody sell the Tic-Tac-Toe movie next. Because if we're going to do this, like, hey, come on, nobody on the planet doesn't know Tic-Tac-Toe. It's going to make money, man. Come on, we can do this. Epic sci-fi thriller set in space. Tic-Tac-Toe. No. It's going to be a thing. Summer 2019. It's going to happen.
No.
Universal Pictures.
Stop! Don't give anybody ideas! Stop it! What is wrong with you?
Oh my god.
Why are you continuing this?
Because they already think like this. That's my problem.
I am done with this, Josh.
Get it out of here. Alright, fine.
It's over.
Alright, so let's talk about some other stupid decisions.
Oh my god. Okay. So, the Santa Fe Comic Con, I don't actually know anything about them themselves, but, you know, they didn't seem to have any problems up until this past week, okay? So, I don't know what you guys think about cosplay guests. I mean, cosplay guests do not tend to sell me a badge. You know, that's not what I typically go to a convention for, but I imagine that is a selling point for somebody. Somebody must like to go to cons for cosplay guests.
Admittedly, it's not the biggest draw for me, but it is an important thing to consider when I'm going to conventions because, you know, I follow so many cosplayers, I know so many cosplayers, some of them are my friends. You know, I want to support them or I want to meet them for the first time and be like, you know what, hey, I really appreciate your work. Some of your tutorials have really helped me out, you know, just, you know, show the love back. And so, for what it's worth, cosplay has become more to the forefront of what people consider when they think of the concept of a convention now. Mm-hmm. You know, with, you know, all the media out there, all the different Facebook fan pages, you know, Heroes of Cosplay over on Sci-Fi, it's more common now. Because I remember 10 years ago, you know, you couldn't say the word cosplay and have people know what was going on. There was still that stigma around it. Nowadays, you know, I can be at work just doing whatever I'm doing, and then somebody else will bring up cosplay. Like, it's a common term now.
Right, exactly.
And so, this convention, you know, Santa Fe Comic Con, had a little bit of a fracas go down over this past week.
Before we continue that, I want to say thank you to 2 new subscribers this evening during the show, to Adam Ranger FTW and Keith Pat 69, because I just got notification you guys subscribed within the last couple of minutes, so thank you. So go ahead, yes.
Yes, so as I understand, so the convention was apparently dealing with a cosplayer who was interested in being a guest, and the convention on their official Facebook decided to leave a very snarky comment, a very snarky public comment as to how they felt about this cosplayer, and we'll read it back because since then all of this conversation on Facebook has been deleted.
Right.
But of course,
apparently the contributor was I don't know if he's the con chair, but he's somebody who contributes all over social media by the name of Jim. So Jim here writes this post saying, "Cosplayer says, in quotes, Dear Santa Fe Comic Con, I'm a cosplayer from the Midwest with 20,000 likes on Facebook. Would you fly me out, put me in a hotel, and get me a table and per diem?" And Santa Fe
Comic Con replies, "Sorry, we don't pay to bring on cosplayers. We like to develop our own local talent. I can give you a table if you will market us on your site and sell $200 worth of tickets for us."
Cosplayer responds with, "How am I supposed to make any money if I have to pay all my own expenses?"
And then the convention apparently responds, are we family or something?"
So that's all in one post, right? So that's snarky, and again, you can, I can understand as a con chair, if you really are wanting to try and get local, kind of homegrown cosplayers to support locally, especially if your con is relatively small, like, I kind of get that, but at the same time, you don't need to make this public snark fest, and so it's kind of just at an uncomfortable point right now, right?
Like at this point, people could have walked away and been like, douche, and then that would have been it. That would have been it. But then it continues.
So understandably, I understand why people called them out like, hey man, this is kind of unnecessary. As somebody says, so while I understand why you guys wouldn't give this cosplayer a table in a room, I think making fun of someone on a public business page isn't really a wise thing to do. Cheers. And there's the con representative again responding, who's making fun? I'm making the conversation public so I can stop having it. The number of times this happens is ridiculous. We want to give our local cosplayers the most exposure we can, and we can't do that if we give all of our donated tables to cosplayers from far off lands. Besides, we didn't include names, so how is this making fun? The snark just kind of continues. The person says that they're not going to come to the con. The con says, we'll miss you. We'd probably offend you another way, though, so maybe it's for the best.
Like okay, now you're really being a douche.
Starting to get kind of douchey.
You should probably not say anything else. It's like that one, the one line Mike Birbiglia always says in his stand-up. Now, what I should have said at that point was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps going, and then this gets further and further out of hand. The con chair, or whoever this is, starts making all of these increasingly douchey posts, and people keep responding and saying, hey, this isn't cool, and the dude keeps kind of doubling down on it.
Doubling down, making it about cosplayers being over-sexualized, and about, specifically the ones that always ask for a free ride are these over-sexualized people who don't know what they're cosplaying, who haven't played the games or watched the anime that they're cosplaying from. So he's making, like, really wide-sweeping opinions, and I'm sure those cosplayers exist. I know that some of them do, but this is a very big sweeping judgment on all of these cosplayers who become guests, and it just gets worse. Like, he just keeps going. I don't know what made you think that this would be a good idea to publicly keep going like this.
For lack of a better way of putting it, he kind of trumps his way through this, because where he could have just said nothing, he doubles down and further explains to himself, no, what I mean is this other horrible thing. No, well, why did you say that? Oh, the reason I said that was this other horrible thing. Mm-hmm. And it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And then finally, somebody tries to step in and be like, hey, I'm actually a social media coordinator. Maybe you should shut the hell up and let me do this kind of stuff for you, because you're really screwing this up.
Yeah.
So you could use my help.
She links to her LinkedIn profile saying, can I help you, please?
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's just getting worse and worse. And it goes on and on like that, and now a lot of attention is being brought to this. They tried to back down and be like, hey, sorry we offended anybody, dicks. We didn't want to...
It's kind of an unapology apology.
Yeah, we've all heard those.
Very backhanded apology.
And really, at the end of the day, what this boils down to is just in terms of PR, if you want people to attend your event, maybe the first thing you shouldn't do is start crap. Maybe. Because the thing about it was, if this was an issue you were already dealing with on the side, you didn't need to make the public post in the first place. Mm-hmm. Alright? Because the thing about it is, in the culture, in the time we live in now, none of this stuff goes silent. You thought just by deleting this, nobody was going to see it? No, people archived this. That's why friggin' Kotaku covered it. That's why other websites covered it.
Right.
It got out. If you say it, it's out there. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to catch it. Somebody's going to remember it. You're going to get basically put on trial for it.
Exactly.
And the thing about it is, in reference to cosplay and things like that, I understand a lot of my friends, well, not all my friends, but enough of them have gone to lengths to make things about cosplay or cosplay in general their jobs. Mm-hmm. And for what it's worth, they put a hell of a lot of work into that. That it's not just something, just the way you do videos, when you do it all day, day in, day out, and you're keeping hours beyond hours, that's a job.
Exactly. I can understand that. I don't understand how people manage to do it, but if you're actually managing to do it and it has become your job and it's a sustainable living, then I'm impressed. Then good job. That you deserve what you've gotten to get that far. Absolutely.
But the thing about it is, when you're trying to get people to come to your convention who happen to be cosplayers, and you're going to go ahead and in public belittle the thing that they've put a lot of time and effort into it, even if there aren't, of the money-making variety, you're still talking crap about the people coming to your convention. Mm-hmm. That makes it a very, hostile environment. Because why would I want to go to that convention if I know that's how you're going to treat your potential guest or table or booth person? How are you going to treat me as just a regular Joe Schmo?
Right, exactly.
And the thing about it is, you can absolutely not do that. If you're going to run any sort of business model, that's why I entirely agree with somebody trying to step in there, because at a certain point it's like, hi, I'm here to volunteer to help you get your foot out of your mouth, because I don't know if you can get it any further in.
Right.
And I congratulate you on the job. That makes my job so much more interesting. Because...
clearly somebody wants to help them. Somebody...
Well, backhanded way in the backhanded way, but it's just, he's not doing himself any favors.
No. He's being backhanded himself. I don't necessarily think it's the entire con that has a problem. You know?
But it'll make a problem for the con if this news gets out there, and then the numbers drop. Because nothing will drop your numbers any worse than bad press.
Exactly.
And if you're just creating more and more bad press... Like, this goes against that whole, any promotion is good promotion.
No, this is the opposite of that. I really do legitimately think if they just manage to not have this guy, then I think the con will be okay. Because I doubt that it's the whole con that has a problem. I'm more than positive it's just that the wrong guy has the keys to the social media accounts, and it needs to not be that guy.
Because in all things, you want... For a lot of us, I know for a lot of you guys there in the audience, cons are our homes away from home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we go there, we want to have fun, we want to be in an environment that is relaxing, that isn't stressful, that's going to make us feel safe in the things we like. And if you or anybody that you know is being attacked by somebody who's representing the thing you're trying to go to, then that's not cool. You're going to go somewhere else. You're going to take your business elsewhere. So for future reference, hopefully other conventions, other people thinking about pursuing social media-ing for an event like this would take a page from this and throw that page away.
Mm-hmm.
Because you absolutely do not need to bring this down on your head and the head of everybody working with your event.
I think that's pretty much it. We need to not give this guy any more time. I legitimately hope that Santa Fe Comic Con gets things under control, because I think they could manage to have a good event if not for the PR. So I hope they get it straightened out, and I hope that they get some better representation, especially within the cosplay community. That would really help them out. If they manage to save their cosplay community, that's going to save them so much heartache from the rest of the community and
at the least a social media headache.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess that's about it for this story. I'm gonna go ahead and click that and make it go away. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the show.
That's basically the show. So thank you guys so much for coming out yet again to visit with us for another evening of the show, but that does not mean that we are done. If you're here with us live right now, thank you so much once again for coming out live with us. We're going to be doing yet another 30 minutes of Q&A time next, so if you're here with us live, start prepping some questions and we'll get them answered and junk. And if you're not here with us live and you're watching this after the fact, then thank you for watching, but I hope you can make it on Thursday evenings at 9 p.m. Central here at youtube.com/MarsGirl/live, and we'd love for you to hang out with us and all these other people over here.
Yeah, these are the cool people over here.
These people are awesome, and they've been having a good chatty time all night long. They've been very good to one another. They will love you too.
Yes. But of course, during the week, if you ever want to talk to us over on social media, you can hit us up over on Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys again next week.
Good night. Yeah. Yeah.